Hi everyone, and welcome to the Curl Girl Knits podcast, episode 5. I am Catherine, your host. Thank you for joining me. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for checking me out again. And if you are a new viewer, well, thank you very much to giving me a try. I really hope you're going to like it. We are Friday, October 14, 2016 today. You can find me under the Curl Girl Knits on Ravelry and Instagram, and you can also find the Curl Girl Knits group on Ravelry. It's been 3 weeks since the last podcast, and it's been 3 weeks only because last Friday I was doing Spinzilla, so I needed every minute and every hour that I could use to actually spend, and so that's why I decided to wait until this week. And when Spinzilla was done, then it was Thanksgiving and yada yada. So 3 weeks. I feel like 3 weeks is probably going to be my go-to by the looks of it. So we'll see into that. I hope everybody's doing well. I had a great week. I had an amazing Spinzilla, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. So today we will have a little bit of knitting. We will have a little bit of cross stitch. I did finish that stocking that I wanted to finish before the end of September, which I did, so I'll be able to show that to you. So a little bit of sewing as well, because I had to sew the stocking together, and I did sew some project bag as well that I'll be able to show you. Nothing really outside the box, just project bag, but I like them, so I'm going to show it to you. And then some spinning. I have tons of spinning to show you since it was Spinzilla. I did spend a lot of yarn, so I have like an entire box fill and some on top of it as well. So I can't wait to show you guys what I've actually accomplished during that week. And I think that's going to be it for today. So let's start. What I'm going to do for this episode, normally I do kind of tend to put like spinning with knitting and things like that, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep the spinning for the end because there was so much of it, in case any of you guys are not interested into spinning. But so yeah, so let's get into it. So knitting wise, I have a new project that I started for a friend of mine, a co-worker, and I don't have any finished object, which is sad. I'm at a point right now where I want to get things done. I want to get things off of the needles, and even in the house, I'm just in that state of mind where I want to get things done. So I think that what I'll need to do for the next few weeks is that I think I need to get one project, get this project done, and then move to another project and get this project done, and so on, instead of taking a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that, but never finishing anything because I'm just giving a few hours to all of it. So I think that's going to be my goal for the next few weeks or so. Also in the next, for the next six weeks or so, I'll have a little bit less knitting time as well, so I'll have to be really smart into what I put into those few hours that I'll have to choose to do. One thing for sure, I'll be taking the bus a lot more, which means I'll be able to knit into those socks for my partner that I haven't knit for so many weeks now. Oh well, he's not asking for it. He knows that it's going to be done when it's going to be done, so I'm not worried about it. So first, small progress on my Arts Yarn Silk Mohair blanket shawl or shawl blanket pattern. I've done one more color, so not a lot, but once again, it was Spinzilla. During that week, I really only spun yarn. I didn't do any knitting at all, so it did cut a little bit of time into this, but I did one more color right here. Oops, my ball just got on the floor. So where the stitch marker is where I was the last time that I showed you, so on the last podcast, and I did added this color. Now I'm at a point where I need to start the transition between this color and the other color, and I only have 4 more colors to go. I really want to get this as far as I can because I don't know if I'm going to stop where the pattern actually asks to stop or if I'm going to knit more afterwards. I really want to get this to the point where I can make my decision, and from there do whatever I decide to do. If it's binding it off, I binding off and I block it, and if it's to continue, well then continue ahead and knit more on it. But I'm at a point where I want to make a decision on this, and to make a decision on this I need to knit on it. So just gonna, oh, the ball dropped on the floor. So this is that. As you see, not a lot of progress done, but at least it's enough. It's one color, so you can see the difference. And this knits quite fast, actually. It doesn't take a long time to do, so it might be, I'm not too sure yet. I'm not committing to it, but it might be the project that I'm gonna try to get done first. We'll see. Okay, second project. This is one of the project bag. I'll show it to you in detail a little bit later on. This is my Rosemary Hill design, which is her mystery shawl for 2016 that she did. You've seen this a couple of times, and I'm trying to not lose anything here. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen my so many stitch markers that I've put on it before I started the last clue of the shawl. I am really at the end of it. It's the last thing that I need to do. It just takes me so much time to actually do it, which I didn't thought would take me that much, but I've never did an edge like this. And I was listening to Candice from the Pin Feathers and Pearls podcast, who also lives here in Calgary, and she did a similar type of edging as well in one of her shawl, and she was also saying that it was taking her forever. And so it made me feel good. It made me feel like it wasn't me, but it's just how it's done. So let me turn it around. Oops. Okay, so last time that I did show it to you, I was right here. So I've knitted the rest of this. I've finished clue 4, and I started clue 5, as I mentioned before. So this is just a brief look of how it's looking at the moment. I wish I would be able to, I wish I would have like 4 hands right now. Yeah, no, not gonna work. I do this maybe. It's gonna be way easier when it will actually be blocked for you to see everything in there. And here's what I've started. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning, but it is taking me hours and hours and hours. So that's why there's just a little bit done. I've knitted on that all the way up to the Spinzilla start, and that's why I've put all of the stitch markers that you see, so that I know where all the repeats are supposed to end, and to give me an idea for any reason I make a mistake, I know where to restart, where the mistake is. So, and this is how the edge is looking at the moment. So it is a nice cable section with a picot bind off on the edging. So it is coming along. It is just taking more time than what I was expecting, but it's pretty. It's pretty. So The light is really not pretty today. It's a cloudy day. We've had cloudy days for a couple of days now. We actually had snow a week ago. So fall is definitely around the corner, and with that the light is changing. And so light is just not great. I tried to record earlier today, but we had people blowing leaves and pine cones and all that stuff, so it was super loud, and I just couldn't record with that noise in the background. So, but here it is. It's taking shape. It totally is. And I am knitting this on a 3.75 millimeter needle, and it is my Addy Click interchangeable set. I love my interchangeable set. I love how it's just easy when you have to change needle size to just change the tip. Go ahead, like you don't have to do a big change for it. It's just change the tip and you're good to go. The yarns that I am using are both Edge-Og fiber yarns. This white and black speckled one is on their sock base. And it is typewriter colorway. So typewriter colorway on the sock base of Edge-Og fiber. And then the colorful gray one, unfortunately for you guys, great for those of you who had it. I love it. I just simply love it. But this was a special club colorway, and it is the Minx color, and it is on the twist sock base. It's gorgeous. It's simply gorgeous. I can't wait to actually block it and spread it out and really see everything from it. The pattern and the color really popping out. So this is coming along a little bit slower than what I was expecting because of the border, but it's still on its way. So this is knitting project number 2. Oops. And we're done with the color number 2, which is the Minx one, the gray one, and I still have a little bit left. So I'll have to see what I can do with this because it's still kind of a nav. I do have a second skein of it, so I might just save it and put it with the second skein so that if I'm doing a project I have a little bit more. But it is. For the white one, for the border you have 2 options. You have a smaller option and a bigger option that you can try out in case, depending on how much grams you actually have left of yarn. And I had enough to actually do the bigger option, so I went with the bigger option. It's just slightly bigger than the normal edging that she's doing. It's nothing completely different. It's just a few stitches difference. So I decided to do that because I had the yarn for it. And yeah. So project number 2. I don't think I did say for my shawl. Once again, I'm not great saying that. So this shawl, the Arts Yarn blanket shawl kit, is actually knitted on a 5 millimeter needle. So once again, Addy Click interchangeable set, go to. Other project that I've started on Tuesday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so like 4 days ago, it's a project for a friend of mine. We talked about it months ago. She wanted a gift for one of her really good friend, and they love handmade things, and so she thought about having a handmade blanket would be really great for her couch, and it would be something that she would really, really like. So we talked about it a few months ago. We chose a pattern a few months ago, but we've never been able to actually be together to get the yarn for it, and that just ended up being last month, so about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I need to really give a push on this blanket to get it done before the end, hopefully before the end of November. It is a fairly quick knit, but it is a big knit after all, so it's not a super quick knit, but it's getting there. So I am doing the Umaro blanket, and I know I'm gonna butcher his name, and I'm so sorry, but I believe it's Jared Flood. I'm not too sure if it's Flood or Flood or how I'm supposed to pronounce it, but the information will be down below. Once again, it is a great blanket. I am doing it with smaller needles than what the pattern is actually asking for, simply because of the yarn that I've chose. I've bought one more, I bought an extra ball of yarn to balance this out, and I did more repeat as well as the pattern was asking for. So here we go. Okay. Yep. So here, I'm gonna try to do that without losing everything. Let's stretch it out a little bit. Here you go. So there's not quite one repeat done, but I'm close. I'm about 3 or 4 rows from being done of the first repeat. And so this is the pattern that is just gonna repeat all over and all over and all over again. The reason why I did went with a little bit of a smaller needle was because the yarn was just, it was a little bit too airy, and there was a little bit more holes in the yarn that I wanted, and because there's holes in here, in the V shape over here, I wanted those holes to really pop out, and so because of that I did went with a smaller needle than asking. So the needles that I am using for the yarn that I have are 8 millimeters. Once again, Addy Click interchangeable set. It was to be expected. So they're a little bit on the bigger side. They're medium size, I would say. So I did that, and what I did to have a stretchier cast on, because it's a blanket and when I will block it out, I wanted to have a little bit of that stretch to be able to block it out like I want. I did a knitted cast on with a US 15, which I'm not too sure in millimeter how much that is, but the 8 millimeter is US 11. So I went up, I was debating between the 13 and the 15. I went with the 15 to give me just a little bit more of that stretchiness in my cast on. So US 15 for the cast on, US 11 for the knitting by itself, knitted cast on, and it gives me a nice stretchy cast on. Normally I do the slingshot method for my cast on, but there was just a lot of stitches and I didn't want to end up doing it and not have enough yarn and have to undo everything and redo it. So that's why I went with a higher needles, thanks to my sister who suggested it to me. And yeah, so here it is. I really like the design that it's actually making. And it is a quick knit because it is a little bit it is bulky. So it goes fast, but I did more repeats than the pattern is asking for because I had smaller needles. I did want it to balance that out. So I did bigger, and also because I wanted it slightly bigger than what the pattern was actually telling us to do. So I did with a little bit more repeats, and I will see as I knit where I want it to end. I'm not necessarily going to follow how many repeats the pattern is telling me to do. I will just knit it up, and when I have a blanket that I'm happy with, I will end that repeat or do one more repeat. Like I will finish a full repeat before ending it for sure, but I will see as I go when I want to stop it. The yarn that I am using for this is those super big bulky yarns, ball of yarns. So it is Charisma Big from Loops and Threads, I believe. It is 328 yards for 10.5 ounces. It is machine washable and dryable, and this is one of the things that my friend wanted. Definitely machine washable and soft, and this is super soft and squishy. It is surprisingly soft for machine washable yarn. And the needle sizes that they do recommend for this one is a 9mm, which is a US 13, and I did went down to an 8mm, which is a US 11. And it is a bulky, it is a number 5. Oops. It is a number 5 yarn, and yeah, really nice, really squishy, super soft. If you need a lot of yarn for a project, this is a good one. And I think it was, for that ball, I think it was about $10 for a ball for that big. So you do end up getting a lot for the money that you spend on it. So this is the Umaro blanket by Jared Food, if that's how we pronounce it. So here we go. Like, I'm almost done one repeat with, like, including the original border, and I'm not even like halfway through one yet. So I bought 5 or 6. I needed 4, I believe, to do a decent size, and I bought 5 just in case. But it's not going to be a loss if I don't use it. So I look at the pattern on Ravelry. It's like a really nice beige cream color. So obviously everything's going to pop out. With a darker yarn, it's a little bit more complicated, but this one really shows it up. So I think that when it's going to be blocked, I think everything's going to pop up, and it's going to help out a bit, hopefully. The other knitting that I have to show you, it's, I only blocked a shawl. I showed this shawl on my first episode, and it was finished, just not blocked, and I finally blocked it, so it's prettier and easier for you guys to see what it is. And so this was also a Rosemary Hill design. It was the Red Rock Canyon shawl. I'm gonna put the information down, and this is how it looks like all blocked up. Now you can see the gorgeous waves at the bottom. And originally, so that eyelet section over here, all of that section is made with 2 colors. So the gray and the blue should have been in there. I've made the decision of doing it in 1 color to just put the accent on the edge of this shawl. The only other little difference that I modified on it is that she called for a picot bind off, and I just did a normal stretchy bind off, only because when I did this shawl, I think it was the 3rd or the 4th thing that I was knitting at the time that asked for a picot bind off, and I just couldn't do a picot bind off anymore. I just wanted something else, so I just went with a nice slick normal edging at the bottom of this. So it is fairly big, as you can see. It's going to be great for the winter. I did it with a hand spun yarn. Both of them are hand spun by me. The blue is also a blend that I've made and that I've dyed myself as well and spun it. I love the look of hand spun yarns. I really do. And it's slightly different. It gives a slightly different texture while still being a pretty knit and a constant knit. And I just love how the gray ended up with some variation of darker grays at certain places. I did not plan on that. It was just how the roving that I had was dyed. And I like it because it actually ended up like giving, like this one is the entire eyelet repeat is darker, as well as this one, and as well as those two. It ended up being really, really pretty in the pattern on how it actually was changing colors. So this is going to be great for the winter. Really nice, squishy, and soft, and warm, and big, as you can see. Like, it's really big. There you go. It's really getting colder here. It really, really is. I don't know if it's going to be cold enough to wear this, but it's definitely getting on the colder side. It's winter. Not quite winter, just cold. That's all I have for knitting. And also, the reason why I blocked this is that I have leftovers of both yarn. And I was kind of hoping of maybe knitting a toque that would fit with it, with pom-pom. Would be really, really fun. But I don't want to start a toque before I finish some of the projects that I have. So I'll see how that goes. I'll see if I have a toque this year. If not, I'll make a toque for next year. I'm good with that. Let's jump into cross stitch, because after that we'll jump into sewing, since they're kind of a little bit linked at the same time. So I am gonna show you once again. It's been a while since you've seen it, my Boba Fett cross stitch from the Stitch Bucket on Etsy. I didn't give a lot of love to this project in the last month or so, because I was trying to finish this stocking so badly, so that I would at least have one for Christmas. This is a Christmas gift for my partner. My plan is to do a box of different Boba Fett items in it and make like a Boba Fett Christmas box items. That's my wish. If that's gonna end up being that, we'll have to see. Because this is not quite done at the moment, as you will see. So, I think the last time that we talked, I finished this half, so all of that was not there. So it was this section that was done and accomplished. So I did finish all of this, and I did started the rest of the hat. I'm trying to finish the page that I'm on right now. The page that I'm on should finish at about like here or so. I've only continued the rounded edge because I had leftover of this yarn and I didn't want to leave a thread for 25 stitch. So I just continued those stitch. But as I was stitching this, I really wanted to get this, I don't know how you call that. I wanted to get this piece done before getting into the rounded bit of the head. And I was finishing this, and then I kind of got it down of, oh my gosh, I want this to be done. I just want this cross stitch to be done. Also, one of the reasons why I want to finish things is that I rarely do things for me. A lot of times I do things for others, and it gives me the wish to do things for me. Just for the fun of doing it for me. Like the stockings have a purpose. They're for decorations. They're not for me at proper say. It's because I wanted, like we wanted something around for Christmas, and I've proposed that and we both approved it and we're doing it. But it's not for me, like the Disneyland cross stitch that I want to do, or the advent calendar that I want to do for me. It's going to end up for Christmas, but I want to do it for me first. But this is not for me. But I want to get it done. I love my partner so much, and I know that he's going to really, really appreciate this. But I'm just at the point where I've seen it for a long time now, and I want to get it done once again. I don't want to start the other stocking before I'm done with this one. So I want to get this done. And so when I went ahead and started the rounded bit of the head, it made me happy because you're seeing a shape coming. You're seeing the item actually being more what it's supposed to be. And that's what I like about it. And then I started to fill up this so that I can finish my page, and then I got it down because I'm like, this is not showing me anything at the moment. It was funny how just those little tiny stitch made me way more happy than filling up. It was funny. But we were at a point where I can only work on this when my partner is not home because it is a surprise gift, and more than anything, he's not home in afternoons and evenings, and we're at a point where the sun is leaving us earlier and earlier every day, and it's going to be even worse when we're going to do the time change in a few days or weeks. I'm not sure when we're doing it. It's right around the corner though. And so I don't have a lot of time every day to work on it. I have about an hour and a half when I push it or so. So, oops. So we'll see how much I can get done before Christmas. I really hope it's gonna be done before Christmas, but we'll have to see. So this was one. And my other project, which is a finished project now, is the Dimensions Kit, the Stack of Critters Stocking by Dimension Kit. Here we go. And here is the finished product. Isn't it cute? Isn't it adorable? I love it. It's gorgeous, it's pretty. I did had some challenges assembling it, but so first of all, I did Christmas. Remember, if you've listened to me a couple of times, you'll see that I want to do two stockings. So this one, and then the other one is the Jolly Trio by Dimension Kits as well. One will have Christmas on it, and the other one will have Merry, so we'll have two stockings with Merry Christmas on it. And so I did Christmas on this one. I wasn't sure which one I wanted for Merry, which one I wanted for Christmas, but when it was actually time to do it, I did Christmas, so that if for any reason I don't finish the other stocking by Christmas, at least I have Christmas and not Merry with nothing beside it. So I felt that this was a little bit less strange. Christmas, and then we have the bird, we have the penguin, and we have, I call it Mama Bear. I don't know why. Mama Bear and Baby Bear. And then gifts and snow. I love how the snow with a different shade ended up really showing that there was an accumulation of snow on the bottom here. And then you have snowflakes all around, which is a mix of stitch and French knots. French knots, guy. Oh my gosh. I am not a fan of French knots. It took me a long time to do all the French knot, and there's like French knots all around the border. There's a lot of it, and on the characters to like have like snowflakes. But it's a lot. It's a lot of French knots, and I've never did French knots before. That was the first time. It was challenging for sure, for me at least. If any of you have great, amazing tips on how to make French knots easier or friendlier, please, oh my gosh, by all means, go ahead and leave a comment. But yeah, the challenge that I had when I cut it out is that you have to calculate the 1/2 inch a border all around it for the sewing. But they tell you where it's supposed to shape, and you need to add that 1/2 inch into it. And so it ended up at some part, because it's rounded and things like that, it ended up being less than 1/2 inch at some places. But I'm a good sewer, so I was able to work it out and make it better. Also, what I did is that I did cut out the pattern to have the shape that it was supposed to be and put it um, on my fabric, on my 14. It's a 14 Ada fabric that came with the kit, and retrace how it's supposed to be and sew on that line. So I did that. I did use the little polar bit, the felted, sorry, polar, that felted fabric that was coming with the kit, because for me it's just a decoration. It's going to be against the wall, so it's not going to be packed, and then you're going to see the back. So I used that pale blue felted. It's a really thin felted fabric, as you can see. And to make it a little bit more interesting, just in case somebody takes it out and look it up, I did a kind of a little quilted bag to make it just a little bit more interesting and less plain. Just a little something. I did properly ended up the inside. And so I did a border to hide the extra Ada, and I did put that blue all the way down to hide the back of the stitch as well, to make it prettier. Some people put interfacing. It's all good. No matter what you want to do, you do it, right? Everything is good. Every method is a good method as long as it works for you. So I did a proper, not a proper, but I just went with what I had in my stock, and I had more blue than I had interfacing, and I wanted to keep the interfacing for my bag, so I just made the choice of putting fabric instead. And the only big challenge with this is actually the sides right here, for about, I would say, 3/4 of an inch or an inch or so, because there was just so much fabric in there, because there was there's the Ada fabric folded in two, and there was the bias that I've made for the border to hide it, that ended up being a 4 layers of fabric, plus the one fabric on the back of the Ada to hide the stitches. And so it just ended up, plus the felted being folded in half, it was just too much. It was just way too much for what it was supposed to be. So those little sides don't quite stand flat like they should, but it's all good. It's not horrible. I'll have to change for the next one for sure. I'll adapt, and I'll see when I'll adapt, if I need to adapt again, or like every time that I'll make one, it's gonna get slightly better, right? Or if you have once again any if you did it before and you have a nice way to do it and you are willing to share, please go ahead and leave a comment and share with me. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. So here we go. I'm happy it's done. I love it. It's cute. It's adorable. That's what I wanted. I wanted something nice and happy on my wall for Christmas, and this is what I had. So, yay! So this is done, and this is all I got for cross stitch. So as I said, I'm gonna try to finish that Boba Fett one as much as I can before even starting the other one. And yeah, and I don't have enough light to do it if the sun is not coming in. I don't have, like in my living room, we don't have a light in the middle of our living room. It's on both opposite corners. It's a floor, I have a floor one here, and I have a ceiling one over there near the stairs. So there's nothing really quite in the middle of it, so it does create a really dark and shaded places to be. So it's not, I don't have a great evening light to do it. So this is also another downfall of it. So we'll have to see with the winter coming how I'll be able to do it. Definitely. And then let's go into sewing. Bag sewing. I showed you some of that fabric before. As I mentioned, I think in the last episode, I wanted some slightly bigger bags than what I have. A lot of my bags are a little bit on the smaller side, so they are good for socks or small shawls. Like my Romy Hill with my hedgehog fiber shawl was just a little bit too tight in there. I wanted just to be sure that everything was fine with the shawl and that I wouldn't get it stuck in the zip or things like that. And I just wanted slightly bigger ones. So those ones are made so that I can put an 8.5 by 11 paper page pattern in there easily, and it does exactly what I wanted to do. So the first one that I did is a great Minion one, because everyone that knows me knows that I love Minion. So Minion ones with basic blue fabric. I did a boxed bottom, sorry, wow, that word really wasn't coming. With a blue zipper. I had that Minion ribbon that one of my great friends actually gave to me during the summer, and I realized that the Minions were kind of facing on the long side, so I planned at the beginning to actually sew it over here, but because the Minions are like upside down, I think it would have just looked slightly weird, so I just did a nice little handle with it. See? And then inside it's just the blue fabric. So I went simple on that. I think I went pretty simple with pretty much all of my inside fabric. So this is one. As you can see, it's like two hands sided. But it's a nice boxed bottom to put your cakes in it. So that was one. And then this is another one I've done with little owls, because also everybody that knows me knows how much I love owls. So owls, and once again boxed bottom, same size as the other, white zipper, and I went with the beige with white little flowers interfacing. I didn't put a handle on this one. I don't need handles on all of my bags. I only need handles on the ones that I carry with me. So I don't always need handles on things. Another one that I've done, this cute little hedgehog, raccoon, owl, fox, squirrel one. Same size as the other one. Once again, boxed bottom, white zipper, and I went with a green and beige interfacing inside. Lining, not interfacing, lining. So, no handles on this one as well. So these are the ones I made for myself. I was making one also for a friend of my mom, but I didn't have enough time before Spinzilla to finish it, so I'm only kind of halfway done. But I decided to do a quilted style bag for her, and so here's the fabric. There's a little curve here that I need to work on. So quilted style, I put it on a small felted fabric, which is basically the same one as this, just in white. So really thin, but it's just giving you that slight padding on the bag that I think is actually kind of nice. And I did little crosses, little X's, diagonal stitches in there, and I did a black stitch on the white fabric and a white stitch on the black fabric. And so this is going to be made like the other bags that I do, and it will become a boxed bag. So yeah. only half of it done. I'll have to finish it as well. Although normally I set up on my kitchen table because that's the only space that I have for my sewing machine, and my kitchen table is now used for all my work stuff that is all laid down for me to work on. So I can't really put my sewing machine on it now. So I'll have to see when I'll have time to continue this one, but I can't wait to show it to you guys to see when, like, how it's actually gonna end up being. That's the back. See all the little quilting stitches. So this is the last sewing bit, I believe. Last sewing bit. So sewing is done, cross stitching is done, knitting is done. So I believe it is now time to get into the Spinzilla spinning yarn. I'm really excited about it. So if you're not interested into spinning things, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you're going to leave a comment here below or in the Ravelry group, one or the other. The show notes will be on the Ravelry group. Here we go. And leave a comment. I really want to hear what all of you guys have to say, because I love to read you and answer back. So please feel free and go ahead. For the ones that want to listen to all that Spinzilla recap, here's the moment. So Spinzilla, my hair's a little bit funky here. Oh well. I did the full week. I wasn't in any team. I went with the Rogue Spinning, which is individual spinners. Basically, you're just not in a team. You're just doing it by yourself. And it was my first Spinzilla ever, so that's why I decided to go on the Rogue spinners, and also to see how it was, to give me a chance. And like, I wasn't sure if I would be able to join teams, to go to meetings or all that stuff. So I really just wanted to go do it for myself and challenge myself more than anything. So here we go. So there's all of this, which ended up being my minis basically. And this box, which is full, as you can see. So I'll try to go as quick as I can, so that, because this episode is already 50-minute long. So I'll try to go as fast as I can through all of them, and then if you have any questions on any of this yarn, or anything that I've done to spin them or whatever, if I don't cover it, send me a message, and I will answer you back for sure. So we have this gorgeous sky blue with a little bit of white in there. Which was my own blend and my own dye. I did that though like about, I think like a little bit more than a year ago, so I'm not too sure what was in it because I forgot to write it down. That's typical for me. There is merino for sure, there is bamboo for sure. I'm not too sure, there's a little bit of nylon or silk in it, one or the other. But I did a 2-ply of this, and I did ended up with 314 yards of this gorgeous, and it is on the thin side, as you can see. So this is one. I did end up with a slight 3-ply of it, because I chain ply when I have extra on my bobbin. So the 3-ply, I have a little bit of it. I have about 11.5 yards of this tiny ones. I ended up with tons of minis after that, so I'll really have to figure out what to do with minis. This one, it's alpaca, 100% alpaca, and it is 13 rep per inch. It is a 2-ply, and I did ended up with a total of 488.75 yards. So it's just a nice shades of gray. It's a medium gray. It's a little bit more darker on the screen right now than it is. If you look at this side here, it is more the color that it actually is. And it is a 2-ply, as I said, 13 rep per inch, which is, that's how it gives you. So, gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. So I have 3 skeins of that. Next one, it is 100% baby camel, which is so soft. It is so soft. You just want to not spin the fiber and just sleep on it. Make a nice pillow out of it. It's super soft. It is a 2-ply, and I did ended up with 423 yards total. Nice spin and twist to it. I don't have the rep per inch for all of them because sometimes I was just seeing time running out and I didn't look at it before. But I generally tend to stay within the same range. So here you go. I love it. I have a ton of fiber of it, so I'm hoping to have enough to do like a blanket or a big garment out of it. That was the goal when I bought that fiber. I got it first in a club that I was at the time, and then that was like more than 2 years ago. And then I bought extras when they released extras on the website. Here is a 2-ply 141 yard. This was fiber that I got into a fiber share swap last spring. And so she gave me those 2 fibers and I plied them separately. I spin them, okay, rewind. I've spinned them separately on 2 bobbins and then I've plied them together to do a barber pole. So it is just a light gray with a darker gray. And I absolutely adore it. I'll need to ask her actually if I can get more of this fiber. It was amazing to spin. It just spinned like butter. It was perfect. And I ended up with a great spin and a great ply without really having to be careful to how I ply it and how to draft it and things like that. It just went all together. It was great. This was a blend that she gave me. I had 4 Rolags of this blend, and I ended up with a 2-ply and 161.5 yards. So this was a nice Rolag made out of lighter blues, darker blue, light gray, dark gray, black, and then some silver selena in it as well. It's just gorgeous. You can see here a little bit of that selena. It's gorgeous. I love it. I love it. I really have to say those 2 are definitely in my top 5 of what I've spent last week. Another one that I've done was something that I bought at London Wool Fiber Arts, I believe. That's her card right here. And I've kept all the tags so that I can put them back together. So this is a mix of wool, mohair, rayon, and bamboo. It is a 2-ply, and I ended up with 400 yards total. So it's a nice navy blue with little bits of white in there. There was also some black in there in the fiber, but the black really ends up being lost in the spinning process. The blue definitely takes over. But because the blue is so dark, the little bits of white still kind of pops up throughout the spin. Yeah, it's hard to get. Here you go, that's better. Everything's kind of like washing out. So I do have 2 skeins of that. Oh, I forgot to show you I have some baby camel 3-ply as well. Nice baby camel 3-ply. Still fairly thin. I do have 23 yards of that 3-ply. And I think that's the only one I've passed. Oh no, the gray alpaca. And a 3-ply of that gray alpaca. Okay, next. This was the first one that I actually spun during Spinzilla. It's 30% baby alpaca, 70% merino silver. It is in the Sea Mist colorway. It is from Paradise Fiber. I did have 4 ounces of it. This one, for example, I had 100 grams, and 100 gram gave me 400 yards total, for example. And so this was 4 ounces, and I did ended up with a 2-ply. I ended up with 511.5 yards. So it's a nice grayish blue, if I could say. It's a little bit lighter in real life than it is on the camera right now. Here we go. That's a little bit more the color that it is. But it's super soft. It's super, super soft. I like it. And I really need to back up for you guys to see. But yeah, ended up with a big amount. So I do have this and another skein. This one is it's not necessarily a little bit bigger, but the twist definitely needed to be worked on because it was my first one that I was spinning really fast. I needed to adjust a little bit, so but it ended up being really well balanced after being washed and dried out. And here is the 3-ply that I've done of that same color. 3-ply, and I have 5.75 yards. I'll have to, like I say, I'll really have to find something to do with those gorgeous hand-spun 3-ply little leftovers that I have. Next one is by far my number 1 of what I've spun that week. I had 8 ounces, if I recall correctly. It is organic Polworth. I have a 19 wrap per inch. It is a 2-ply, and I did ended up with a total of 4 skein, and it gives me a big grand total of 1,373.75 yards. Look at this, guys! It's so fun! Look at this gorgeous barber pole. Look at this. Gorgeous, gorgeous barber pole. So I do have 4 skein, as I've mentioned before. And what I've done, I had two rovings of it. So what I did is that I separated the roving on the long side into two separate section. I spun one directly from that half, and then for my second bobbin, I redivided that half into thirds. So that would have created, and I also flipped it upside down to start with the end instead of the beginning of the other one, to have the most barber pole as I can. There is little bits here and there, like here, that the color did still ended up matching, but I do not mind that. As long as I have a really nice barber pole out of it, I'm happy. I'm happy. This is my favorite one by far of my Spinzilla spin. And I did a chain ply for my 3-ply, or Navajo ply for those ones who know, which actually when you do this, you keep as much as you can of, it's all stuck, to keep your color together as you go, and this is what it gives you. So it's not at all a barber pole, and as you will knit it, it will go from one color to the other to the other. So it keeps colors together. So see how different, like really completely different this is. Here you go. And then here's how it's, oh, I could have taken like a bigger contrasting color to actually show guys. Here you go. Look at that barber pole, it's so beautiful. And then the 3-ply. Here you go. So this is my number one, and I can't wait to find a project that I can actually use this for, since I have over 1,300 yards for it. So it's pretty. Okay. Another really pretty yarn, it's an emerald color one. It is merino. It is also from the London Wool Fiber Arts shop in New Brunswick. It is a 2-ply, and I did ended up with 420.75 yards out of it. So here it is. And here is the skein. I did all the tags last night. It took me forever to do all the tags for all the yarns. But it's gorgeous. It's soft as well. And it's a really bright emerald turquoise color, which is pretty. It's funny because everything that I'm spinning right now, I feel that would pair really well with a gray color. But, so you have two skeins of that. Like, if I take this gray, oops, like this and this will go well together. And this and this would go well together. Like a nice medium light gray on the edge. Even this would go well together. So, I guess I'll have to spin some gray to go with this. And I did had a 3-ply yarn for it as well. All of my 3-plies are Navajo ply, chain ply. All of it. It's just my go-to when I have leftover on a bobbin. Here we go. And oh no, I have 2 left. Oop. And this is another one that I have quite a bit of. So this is 30% alpaca, 70% merino. I have 16 wrapped per inch, a 2-ply, and I ended up with 980 yards total. And this has ended up being a really gorgeous dark red, which I didn't thought would actually end up like this. The fiber was kind of a brighter red, more like this kind of red with a lot of white in it, and you completely lose the white in it, and you kind of end up being with a darkish, like ruby kind of red, but it's gorgeous. I was just surprised when I was spinning it how it actually ended up like this. That's better. But I love it. It's such a really, really pretty color. I'm actually asking if this and this would go well together. It actually would. It actually would. But so I did have that, and I do also have two little 3-ply bits as well for it. And I do have a total of 23 yards of the 3-ply. And the last one, finally, last one, I told you there was a lot. So last one was a mystery blend that my sister gave me for Christmas, I think 2 years ago, if I recall correctly. And she gave us a bunch, both to my mom and I, some, oops, that's on the floor, of already like drum, because she had a drum carder and I didn't have a blending board at the time, and so they were just already mixed up blends. And if I had the description somewhere, I don't have it anymore. I don't think it did come with a description, but oh well. So it was a little bit on the, I decided to go and do something that I would have not done normally, which is, for me, I call this a art yarn because it is more bumpy than what I would have normally spun. But I went bumpy, and I did some experiment as I was plying as well, to get some different twist and some different bump styles if you want. But as you can see, there is some bumps here and there in it that I put and that I wanted to ply with a smaller bit to make it kind of popped. It's still in a size that I would knit with, compared to some art yarn that sometimes just ends up super thick and super thin at some places that I don't know how I would knit that up, but it still kind of ends up like pretty much in the range that I would normally spin, just with some bumps in it, like this. So not too far away from my comfort zone. But, so this is how it looks like, with some nice texture in it. When I spinned this, the fiber was still a little bit greasy from the animal, probably. And so when I washed it, I did a really, really good wash out of it to get that greasiness out of it, and it worked out perfectly. I was scared that I may have actually needed to wash it twice, but once, just one really good wash, and it was fine. So that is done. I don't remember if I give you the info. So 11 wraps per inch, 2-ply for a total of 128.25 yards. And I do not have a 3-ply of this. I had enough to do a 2-ply. So isn't it nice? Isn't it pretty to look at that? I did put a picture on Instagram. Sorry. Of course, I'm podcasting, so my nose is going to be itchy. It's funny, I was listening to somebody else last week, and she was saying on her podcast that every time she podcasts, her nose is itchy. And it's the same thing. So I did spin, so you do calculate both singles and the plying process in it when you do count your Spinzilla yards. And so with everything, including my 3 plies and all of my 2 plies, I did ended up with a grand total of, drum roll, 16,552 yards. I was going for 14,000 and I've actually been able to spin more than that, which I was pretty excited about. There was one day though that I did lose some time. I ended up needed to do something else, and so I did lost a couple of hours over there, and I did lost a couple of hours here and there. So, but I had most of my week available for it. I did had a lot of free time to be able to do it, and that's why I wanted to do it as well, because I had the free time to be able to push myself for it. So yeah, grand total, I am super happy with what I've done. I didn't do that for the prices or to be number one or anything. I really just did it for me because I don't spend enough throughout the year. I don't spend as much as I want to, and this was the best way to actually push me and just spin for a while, and that's what I've done, and I loved every single moment of it, and it was great. And if I am able to redo Spinzilla again, I would definitely redo Spinzilla again for sure, heads down. I would do it. I would plan probably more though, and better for sure. I don't think I planned enough, and I don't think I did plan good enough for this year, but it was my first Spinzilla. I learned, because I ended up, it started Monday, October 3rd and midnight, so between the night of Sunday to Monday and midnight, that's when it started, and it ended on October 9th, which was the Sunday night and midnight. So you have a full 7 days to do it wherever you are in the world, and that's why it starts in midnight, so that anybody have the same amount of time to actually spend. And I did made a point of actually start at midnight and finish at midnight. At the beginning and at the end, I thought it was just kind of cool to start exactly as it was turning midnight and then end just before it was ending at midnight. And I did ended up probably on the Friday morning. I did get up and I'm like, I need to look into my yarn closet and I need to find more fiber because I definitely do not have enough right now. I was planning to do the baby camel way more, but the baby camel fiber I think is just a fiber that I need to put time and a stress-free spin into. I don't want to rush it out. I don't want to. It's just better if I take my time to actually spin it instead of just spin it to spin it for Spinzilla. So I did put that fiber aside, but that was a really big bag of fiber. So when I did put that fiber aside, I ended up with not enough fiber for my week. And so I did get up in the morning, grabbed my coffee, went into the closet, took everything out. I'm like, I need more fiber. What can I grab? And I grabbed everything that was a possibility. And I kind of did them in 3 different categories, into the one that for sure I'll spin, into I'll spin if I have time for, and the other one of I would not like to spin this right now, but if I need something, it's here and available for me. So that's what I did on that Friday morning. It was pretty fun. It was actually pretty funny to watch. I'm pretty sure for my partner to just see me in his office putting fiber everywhere with my coffee and being like, I need more fiber right now. I really don't have enough. It was pretty funny. But overall, great experience. I would do it again, and I would encourage everyone else to, whoever wants to spin and participate in this. It's a really nice community, and it was a great 1 week of spinning. And so since this episode is getting a little bit longer than it normally is, I will wrap this up. Thank you for everyone who's sticking until the end. If you have any comments, any questions, please feel free to leave them down below or on the Ravelry group, or send me messages both here on YouTube or on Ravelry. I'm more than happy to reply to anything. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and have a great time, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!